What's going on, people? It's Mr. Door back again with a review show. I hope everyone's fit and well and had a great day. Where shall I start? We're going to talk about yesterday's defeat that ended for West Ham 4, Forest 0. A lot to talk about. People, what's your opinions about yesterday? Get in your comment section and I'll read it all out. If you are new to our channel, please do hit the like button, subscribe if you're new, and actually comment below, people. What's your reaction from yesterday's game? Right, and before we do, as you know, I've got a special guest coming on the 25th of April. The man himself, Chris Williams, is coming to Nottingham. So if you want to get your tickets, people, please DM myself to get your tickets as well. And he is going to do a live stream before he does come back to Nottingham. So please watch out for that as well. Members as well. We're going to do a special show for members as well for channel. Right, let's get the guests in. We're going to start with the legend himself, Dave. How you doing, Dave?
Yeah, all right, Ben. Not too bad after a long and quite tiring day yesterday, but yeah, we're all right. We live to fight another day, mate. Me and Forest.
Yeah. Next, we've got the Welsh wizard, Steve. How you doing, Steve?
Yeah, I'm right, Ben. Yeah, recovered from yesterday, but yeah.
I think all of us are recovered.
A football hangover, they call it.
Yeah. Forest and Wales, eh, Steve?
Oh, Dave!
I'm sorry. Sorry.
I don't care about the rugby. I don't
care. Steve he's having a bad weekend. So leave people comments. Give some food to Stephen.
Yeah, I've just got a Pantera t-shirt on.
Oh, I don't. Last but not least, we've got a special guest. We've got Mark in the building. How you doing, Mark?
Yeah, I'm good, thanks. Hope everybody else is.
You're not depressed like Steve, are you? Because like Wales lost.
No. Put yesterday behind me already.
As well. So, people, we're going to talk about yesterday's game, but before we do, we're going to go through the comments as well. And this is from Derek. Hey, people, and Derek, remember, if you want to be a member and support my channel, please do. I'm going to get the vlogs up. People who are members to the channel, you can get them first before anyone else. Pat Laddie, this guy.
Right, Billy from A Block.
Right, people in the comments, and Steve and Mark will be confused what the hell is. So basically, Pat, shout out to Pat. He's a legend in College Street. He phoned me pretending to be Billy. I'm like, who the hell is this guy? And he said to me prior, I will phone you, but won't tell me it's him. So I put the phone down, and I'm thinking, it's Pat. It's bloody Pat. So, yes, Pat, you're a legend. Shout out to
Man
Pat.
of 1,000 voices.
Legend. Actually a legend, Pat. He will be on the show as well, so people watch out for that. Pat will be on when he's free. As well, Paul. Evening, all heads up for us staying up. We're learning and no negative, only positive, please. We are going to be positive. But like I said, we're in the Premier League. We're going to have bruises. We're going to have bounces. It's going to be everything. So, it's what it is. Eve, good evening, Mr. Door, Dave, Steve, and Mark. I hope you're well. I'm drawing and colouring 2 pictures inside sitcom. Well done, Eve. You keep drawing, at least, and keep yourself positive as well, Eve. So I hope to see you soon. Evening, Door, how you doing, Joe? Derek, I can't see Southampton, Bournemouth, Everton get another 15 points, meaning 12 points from out remaining games. That season's safe, but it must be Everton, Southampton, and Wolves at home. I think that's what we're going to talk about throughout the show because, like I said, it's big games, massive games up and coming, and nothing to worry about. Last but not least, we've got this from NFC. We changed the way we play for Wood. Wood should be plan B against City last 10 minutes when we throw the kitchen sink. Sam has been disrespectful big time. Wood aren't it. Sorry, Matt. Spot on. If people haven't seen the show about last week's show, Matt went on a rant, but that's Matt's opinion. And it was a crazy show, wasn't it, Steve?
Yeah, just a bit.
just a bit.
It was like Jamie Kyle more than Tom.
It was crazy. People, if you look back, so watch it after the stream. There's more comments coming in as well. This is from Chris. Mama said there'll be days like this. Come on, US. Shout out to Chris from America. Paul, good evening, gentlemen. Very disappointed about yesterday as well. I think everyone is. Everyone's disappointed, but it is what it is. We're in the Premier League. We're going to have ups. We're going to have more downs. It is what it is. Raz does. Evening, guys. If you play out the type of League, we'll be top 6. 100% as well. This is Brian. Good evening. Bad loss, but keep going. Brentford beat Brentford. Man United 4-0 this season. It's all about good reaction. 100%. 100%. Mark says, good evening, guys. And thank you, everyone. Like I said, everyone, thank you, everyone. Just listen to myself, Dave, Steve, and Mark. So people show some love as well to the panel as well, because, like I said, we lost 4-0, but the show must go on. Right, let's start. And people come and get involved as well. Last but not least, how you doing, Justin, as well, and another member to the channel. Right, let's start with Dave. What's your thoughts about yesterday?
Very disappointing. West Ham were the better team from start to finish. I wouldn't pick out any player as a positive for us yesterday. There were no crumbs of comfort from what happened on the field. The crumb of comfort came from looking at my phone in the aftermath of a very disappointing afternoon and seeing that somehow we had not been dislodged from 13th place in the Premier League. So if Southampton, Bournemouth, Everton, West Ham United, Wolves, Leicester, Leeds, I think, I might mention them twice, I don't know. If they can't dislodge us from that when we were having a really, really bad day, more fool them. There are 7 teams below us in the Premier League. And that little sort of league of, I think it's 8 at the moment, it might become 9 if Palace have a couple of bad results, they could drop in. There are going to be twists and turns and ups and downs. And like yesterday, Leeds had a good day. West Ham had a fantastic day. Next week, it might be us having a fantastic day if we beat Everton, and West Ham having a poor day if they lose at Brighton. So there are 14 games still to play. There are 42 points still to play for. So what we have to do is, we as supporters, I think, have to put it away and in the background, because the one thing we can't do, we cannot change it. So we have to kind of think of Everton, and nothing else. Steve and the lads, they have to go over it. They have to pick the bones out of it. They have to sift through the wreckage and find ways of doing things better. And I was really pleased in a way to see how angry Steve was about it yesterday. He came out, he said the one word that sums it all up for us and for him and for them, and that was unacceptable. It was unacceptable. So me ranting and raving and losing my rag and all that kind of stuff and going on social media and calling people out, that's not going to change the result. I'm happy to know that our manager, who we've all sung his name from the rooftops, realises it's unacceptable. There will be an inquest within the club. They will sit down, I reckon, as a group and watch the match again. And their coach, I'm sure, will point out, person A, you should have done this. Person B, you should have done that. So I think there will be an inquest. The important thing now is that, you know, yesterday is yesterday. It's 24 hours ago. It's trapped in history and can't be changed. So we might as well not rant and rave about it. But what I want now is I want a reaction against Everton next week, you know. And Everton's day wasn't great. They actually played some decent football, but still got beat. Leicester apparently were completely anemic against Arsenal. You know, they were without Maddison, so they didn't do a great deal. So Southampton were more than mediocre at Leeds. Bournemouth were like completely outclassed. So we weren't the only ones that had tough days. But the general consensus from what I've read is and seen is that the away form has to improve. It does, but I have every faith that Steve and the lads are working hard, because we might be hurting as supporters, but I reckon that they'll be hurting more than anybody, because I think they're a good group of people. They're a good group of lads. You know, they're not going to be disrespectful of us as fans. They'll know how we're feeling, and I think they'll feel it as well. But really, the one positive I take is that we weren't shifted from our place in the table. And others had bad days as well. So it is what it is. It is now set in stone, and we can't change it. So Everton's all that matters now.
100%. Well, Steve, what was your thoughts on the game? echoing Steve, echoing Dave. I mean,
Yeah. First of all, I'm going to say West Ham overall were the better side, but
Not today.
there's a lot of buts for me personally. Agree or disagree? I think there was key factors in the game that changed it. We were on top for about 5 minutes, and Fabianski went down, injured. That took the sting out of the game for me. Momentum changes. I've watched football long enough, and other sports like rugby as well. You get moments in games where it just takes a sting out of it. And by him going down, it just, for some reason, it's like West Ham, they may have got together. Moyes probably dragged them over and said, look, lads, they're on top now. Do something about it. And all of a sudden then, from that moment on, West Ham just blew us away in that 10, 15-minute spell. Another little point is, I know he's not fully fit. Shelby going off, for me, we lost all control of the game. We lost the midfield. It seemed like the spine just fell apart when he went off. We just need to get him fully fit. We need him on for 90 minutes now to see the season out. Me personally, that's another point. And I just thought it was two average sides, but they just had a bit more going forward than we did, a bit more threat. Bowen, Ben Rahmat on the left. I'm sure we'll mention certain players later, but I felt it was just, I bumped into my West Ham mate today, and he went to the game. He was in the West Ham end, obviously, and he said up until West Ham scored, he just thought it was two average sides. Him personally was annoyed. I've been annoyed with West Ham in recent weeks, and if you had said to me prior to the Man City game, we would have drew 1-1 with Man City and lost 4-0 to West Ham, I would have gone, what? I would have said it would be the other way around. If we lost 4-0 last week and drew with West Ham, to me, that would have been more realistic. But yesterday, and what annoyed me yesterday, another point is, we just kept on giving the ball away. We got to retain this ball better. Against Fulham, we got lucky against Man City because they do dictate the ball. But against these sides, we got to keep the ball better in the last third, in their half. It was so annoying, just giving the ball away to Declan Rice and just picking up scraps. We got to keep that ball better. We got to. Ball retention is key. We in the Championship and get away with it. In the Premier League, you can't. They just keep on coming back all the time. I'm just getting worked up now because yesterday again, it was like the Fulham game. It was just really just like grating on me. Just keep the ball, and I felt sorry for Shelby in a way because he was the only one again picking him out, but he was trying to find that pass. Nothing was coming off, and when he went off, me personally, like I said, agree or disagree in the comments or whatever, but me, Shelby going off was one of the key factor of us imploding. That's just my opinion.
Before we get to Mark, like I said, there is lots of people talking about John Shelby as well. Shelby isn't match fit. I think that's what Steve was talking about as well. Derek says Shelby is not totally match fit. Needs taken off in order to proceed to this fitness. I don't have any problem with Shelby being taken off. I think what like sort of Steve's saying about, like I said, I felt sorry for him because, like I said, my opinion on this, we went through a lot, and who's the other one? Colback. We got bullied in that midfield. I personally think. What was your thoughts, Mark, on it?
I think a lot of people, it's been all over social media. And they're all pinpointing the substitution and Shelby coming off, and that swung the game. First half we were hardly in it. We kept them at bay. We did start to pick up just before they scored. And I was watching, I thought it felt very similar to the Man City game, where somewhere around the hour mark we seemed to perk up a bit and start getting right back into the game. And then he took Shelby off. Fair enough. He said afterwards he did it to protect him because he's not totally match fit. Can understand that. But what really frustrated me just personally was he brought Ayew on. And I thought, well, he's got Danilo on the bench. He's got Mangala on the bench. He's got Scarpa on the bench. Why is he making that substitution? And the only way I can fathom it out is he mentioned afterwards, he said we got a bit of momentum, which is right. We did around the hour mark, but he said he made the substitution to try and keep that momentum up. But I couldn't understand how that was going to work. And then later on, he brought Lingard on, who is nowhere near match fit himself. So again, I thought maybe he's going to bring Scarpa on, and then he took Wood off, and I thought he's not bought Surridge on for Wood. He bought Surridge on later for Johnson. So it was the substitutions again for me, but whether that would have made a difference or not, I don't know. But I think when it boils down to it, a lot is being made of our away form. And it's frustrating. I can understand exactly why all the Forest fans are up in the air, and even Cooper himself. We've got to change our away form. But then you've got to balance that out. You know, we're back in the Premier League now. We're finding our feet. We're not the only ones who are struggling away. You know, I mean, when you look at it, away, Leeds have only won one away game. West Ham have only won one away game. Everton have only won one away game so far this season. You know, and even someone like Brentford have only won 2 away games this season.
Have they?
Yeah, they've drawn 6.
So it's not that bad there. We're not that bad away. We're not that bad away, are we?
So, you know, even though we're bottom of like the away table, if you look at it, it's really mainly because of our horrendous goal difference away. It's terrible. So, you know, I was looking at it sort of around the Christmas time, and a lot of teams are struggling to win away. Even Liverpool for a while couldn't win away, not for love of the money, you know. And so we've always said our home form is what's going to keep us up.
Yeah.
And yes, we can try and focus on the away form a bit, but really, for me now, we need to focus on the home games and make sure we won. You know, someone said in the chat earlier, we really need to beat Everton, Southampton and Wolves at home. If we can do that, then we're more or less there for me. Because when you look at the other teams below and around us, they're not playing all that well consistently. And when you look at their fixtures as well, you know, they've got hard games to come, which their fans
every game is hard.
Where are we going to get our points from?
Sorry, Ben, go on.
Go say.
Oh, just a quick one to follow up, Mark. Have you seen Everton's running? It's horrific. Everton have got a horrific run of games. They got and they can't score. So I think they're in big trouble, I think.
I tend to think, gents, this little mini league of 8 that we're in, nobody at the moment is putting together
a run.
A consistent run. In fact, the only team in the bottom 8 who put a consistent run together, kind of like, you know, were Forest sort of through January, because we were, you know, from January the 1st to like the Fulham game, we were top of the Form League for the whole division, right? So I don't think anybody is going to go on a run. I mean, it's like it's going to change from week to week. So, you know, West Ham go to Brighton next week, and the West Ham fans were saying yesterday, we never win at the Amex. Brighton have got the wood over West Ham. So Everton play Arsenal in midweek. Wolves go to Liverpool in midweek. So, you know, I also looked at the table today, and what I found interesting was of that bottom 8, we're the top one, and, you know, we're 13th. We've lost 11, and the 7 below us have lost 12, 13, and 14, whichever it might be. Leicester have lost 14. So I think, you know, for context, we're all unhappy with our away form. We all of us want to be in a better position. Hell, Steve keeps saying it's not good enough, and he wants to improve, and he wants to make things better, right? But I'm telling you, I bet you Leicester lads are saying it tonight. Saints lads are certainly saying it, because they're like, you know, what, 8, 9 points behind us, right? 7 points, whatever. You know, Bournemouth fans will be saying it. So it's a little league of 8. And yeah, we had a bad day yesterday, but then so did Bournemouth, so did Southampton. Everton were at home and probably thought, well, we could take something off the Villa. And what's worse for Everton is they did play some quite good football. They had some chances, you know. So, like I say, we can mull it over, you know. And the Steve's points. I mean, the point about Shelvey, the Shelvey substitution didn't really, to me, change the situation from what had gone prior, to what went post, because Forest never had any control in the game. Never at any point in that game did any of our lads sort of have, you know, a fit. Brennan had a couple of chances, he had a couple of runs. Morgan got on the ball, but there was nothing substantial to say Forest are in this game or any one of our lads is in this game. Jared Bowen was good from start to finish. Declan Rice showed why he's going to go to a big club for 60 or 70 million, right? We, you know, the way I kind of look at it is we're a championship club learning really, really tough lessons, right? We're newly promoted. How many, you know, it's a rare beast of a newly promoted team that comes up and takes loads and loads of points on the road. You know, if you like, for a promoted team, points on the road is a holy grail. But to get to that holy grail, you have to go through some traumas and some troubles. You know, I you know, people probably laugh me out of court, but I really feel somewhere along the line, Forest are going to go somewhere. And I might be talking out of my big bum. Forest are going to go somewhere and thump somebody, and they won't know they've done it, and then they'll sit down.
I hope it's Liverpool away. That'd be great, wouldn't it?
I watched Liverpool.
The way Chelsea are playing. I think
Yeah. I tell you what, it's like in these next you take these next three
in free fall.
Yeah, I mean, the way I look at the next three games, I do think we'll beat. I think we'll beat Everton because Everton have to deal with one of the most powerful weapons in the Premier League, the City ground.
Yeah, they won't score.
No. I think Everton are going to get it. Yeah, and then we'll beat. I can't see us winning at Tottenham. Can't see us winning there at all.
Newcastle may have a hangover now after today.
Newcastle. I've been talking to my old man because he follows football like mad, and he said we were sat having dinner this dinner time. He said United have already won that, and I said to him, why do you think that? He said Newcastle can't score. If it's Callum Wilson or nothing, because Isaac's not the answer. And I think 17th of March is my birthday, and I think I might get a present that night by us beating the Toon. I really do. In fact, it's the one I'm most confident about of the next three. You know, so. Yeah, there's lots that needs to be improved, you know. But what I do like, wouldn't it be worse if we were all sat here, us four, and our manager was saying one thing and the rest of us were thinking something completely different? Steve's thinking like we are. He knows the away form's got to get better. He knows yesterday was unacceptable. He knows, and the point that the lads have made about ball retention, I think we are the one where we are the worst team in this division is at keeping the ball. We've never been good at it at all. And so we give it away we look like we're the team with least amount of time when we're in possession. Everybody else seems to have 10 acre fields to play the ball into, and we, you know, have more time to play the ball. We don't. And we somehow need to rectify that. I think that's our biggest problem, personally.
I don't know whether you saw the stats for yesterday, though, that we actually had 49% possession.
The one I saw, Mark, was I think it was 51 to us, 49 to West Ham, which I kind of found a bit, you know. So it
was not all the other way around.
Yeah.
Sorry, real quick one. This is Everton's running, right?
Yeah, go on.
Arsenal away, us away, Brentford at home, Chelsea away, Spurs home, Man United away, Fulham home, Crystal Palace away, Newcastle home, Leicester away, Brighton away, Man City home, and the last two games, Bournemouth. That Bournemouth game could be the game that could be the clincher. And I think looking at that running, I know you got the right thing on.
You don't pay Steve. Steve. You crushed Steve. You're frozen, Creed. He's not been paying his Welsh bill.
Whose fixtures was he talking about there?
You're live now, Steve. You're live.
Am I back?
Steve, what team was you on about?
Yeah,
Everton.
Oh, okay.
Everton.
So, you know,
they've got horrendous finish to the season, haven't they? Their last 4 games.
Right, let me
I got a mate. No, just a quick one. I got a mate who went up to watch Everton. He's an Everton supporter. He went up to watch a Villa game yesterday, and he said, "You lads should beat us next Sunday because we just can't score. They toothless up front. They got nothing."
Well, I'm just going to go through the comments as well. Paul says, "Are we missing Yates, lads?" I think we'll talk about that. Yeah. I think that's my next subject because I think we've got some of the midfielders that are missing. So that's what I think we'll talk about in a minute. This is from Mark. Last week, substitution was spot on for Cooper. Will we have a reason he hardly gets things right? Maybe that's meant to be an idea as well on this. From Gregory, we need a top quality striker. I think
everybody in the bottom 8 does.
Exactly. This from Forest. This is true, Dave. The only way to learn is to make mistakes as well.
That's the philosophy of my life.
We've got a Hammers fan. Hammers here. David's talking a lot of sense. Be lucky, lads.
Thanks, John.
Shout out to John. It is Kel. I could listen to that Dave for hours. Always the voice of reason with the rest of the lads fan base. Putting over after the loss as well. Where's the other one? Nottingham Forest, Nottingham Forest. Jojo seems all right. Manchester seems all right. Midfield. Right. Let me ask you, Mark. Like I said, me personally, I just don't think I felt sorry for John Joseph yesterday. Ryan Yates, Konate, who else is in that midfield we're missing? Is there any midfielders that we're missing? I personally think I miss Yates and Konate in that midfield. Do you think we miss them? People in the comments, do you miss them two players in the midfield?
Definitely miss Yates for me. He's, one of the most improved players this season. He's been having a lot of bad luck with illness and knocks to the face, but he just puts himself on the line, and Koyate as well. At the start of the season, I thought he was just a bit not quite going to cut it, but especially when he's been used as a second half substitute, he showed his mettle, and he puts himself about. So it goes back to what we were saying about yesterday, where we lost control of midfield, and players like that, they help give us control of the midfield, and that then improves the service to them up front. So yeah, I mean, Yates for me is a big miss. Koyate more of an impact sub for me, or just play for 60 minutes or something. But yeah, and really looking forward. Hopefully, Nia Carty's not far off. I'll shore the defence up. Again, no disrespect to Worrell. People calling him out for mistakes yesterday, and I just think Nia Carty offers us a bit more. Joe's, again, while he's still learning his trade in the Premier League, he's not doing it consistently. So we need to sort of swap and change a bit in that respect, I think. Felipe, for me, he's shown his class since coming in already. And Endo's hopefully not far away as well. So that gives him a bit more covering goalkeeper area.
I was going to forget to Dave. I've got another West Ham fan here. Thank you, Toby, for watching. A West Ham fan here was there yesterday. The boys were loud. To be fair, felt like we were owed something from 1-0 at City earlier this season. Respect to the Forest fans, though. Respect, Terry. Respect for coming on as well. And another comment. I think I've seen another comment that he's put, Terry. Mr. Dore interviewed Bill Garner outside of London, assuming that you know who he is. I didn't know who he was. I didn't know who Bill Garner was before. Shout out to Guy Burksy, messaged me saying he's a legend around West Ham.
Top boy.
He's a top boy at West Ham. Dave, do you know who he is, Dave?
I haven't a clue, and I'm really hoping that you're going to tell me right now, Ben.
Mark, tell him, Mark, who he is. I haven't got a clue who he was.
Bill's their top boy back in the day, pre-ICF.
Right.
He was their main man.
I didn't know who he was.
He was like, how Scarrett was our general.
Yeah.
Bill was their equivalent of Scarrett.
He come up. I think he come up to me because I was doing my camera work. He said, "Oh, can I come in interview?" I went, "Okay." Blah blah blah. So Craig's calling the camera. I'm talking to him. I've had a picture, and then I seen a picture of Boatsy with him. And I thought myself, I sure interviewed this guy before the game. And it was going around the social media, saying it's the legend himself, Bill.
Ben, was he the big guy? He had like a brown coat on.
Yes.
Yeah. He actually, I saw that on the vlog, and I kind of thought, well, he's a fair laddo, but I had no idea whatsoever of his mythology, if you like.
I never
done
knew
a
who he
lot
was.
of work with him on films and that.
Yeah.
Well, shout out to Bill. Like I said, he just come up to me and said, "Oh, can I get on video?" I'm like, okay. But then I saw them on the social media, Twitter, Facebook. the guy, you got Bill on your vlog. I was like, who? Bill. shout out to Bill. People there, 93 people. If you can't do a massive favor, please do hit the like button. I'm on 20 likes. People, get me to 50 likes. I've got the special Dave, Mark, and Steve here. Get me to 50 likes, people, as well. Let's talk about this Scarpa Dial. I think again on social media, everyone's talking about why they're not playing. People in the comments, what's your opinion on them two players? Like, they've not been on for the last 2 games, I think it is. Let me ask you, Steve. Do you think they need to give him a chance as well with Jesse Lingard as well? Do you think they need to get a chance with Forest, or is Cooper got it right?
Well, Danilo started against City, didn't he, last week?
Yeah, he did, didn't he? Sorry, he did.
Yeah. So Scarpa is like weird thing with Scarpa. I don't know if any of us picked up the Man City game. He was warming up half time in his kit, in his bib, and then he didn't come on, which I thought he was going to come on for Danilo, but then he just didn't come on at all. Yesterday, I've seen a few comments online. Maybe with the I know bring back the Shelby thing, and Mark mentioned AU earlier. Perhaps he should have brought another midfielder on like a Scarpa, because I think that guy just offers something else. He does like to ping the ball forward. I feel at the moment, just get this debate about the midfield go on forever. Who's the best 3? Who's the best 2? Are we missing Yates? Are we missing Coate? And I feel we are in a presence sense on the field. I think we're not the biggest team in the world overall, but then when you got players like Coate, who's a monster, Yates is no small lad. Niakate is a big lad. When he's Taiwo, when he comes back, I think we're just missing a bit of presence. Yeah, missing a lot of muscle and presence on the pitch. I think Ben mentioned you mentioned earlier being bullied, and I know Colback. You wouldn't say that in the same sentence as Colback, but I felt yesterday when it just felt like the play was bouncing off Bowen and bouncing off Rice, and I thought they are bullying us here. And Aurier right back as well. You know, Nico's had a bit of a pace online. I don't think Nico played that bad, to be honest.
No.
He played all right. I think I have seen I don't know if you guys have seen as well. They've on about Lodi wasn't fully fit going into yesterday, and I got a funny feeling the longer that game went on, they started targeting him. West Ham. I think maybe they sensed it off him. He wasn't fully fit because I read today that Toffolo came on, but Lodi apparently might be picking up an injury or carrying an injury. So
I've not seen it. I know Lodi's come off the last 2 games.
So maybe he's carrying something. So maybe I personally give Toffolo a chance on Sunday against.
Had our only shot on goal.
Yeah. Well, why not then? It's a squad game.
Yeah, I mean, Harry's had a lot of stick because, you know, he's kind of like deemed to be like not exotic, and he was from Huddersfield and Lincoln and whatever. And he came on last week and he did all right. And he came on yesterday and I thought he did all right again, you know what I mean? But on the subject of the midfield thing, I can't, you know, as you lads have been talking eloquently, I can't, and the names of Ryan and Cheku keep coming up. And I think our best midfield performance of the whole season was at home to Liverpool, where it was Cheku, Ryan, and Remo, and they absolutely bullied Liverpool off the field. That was our best midfield performance. I think it was one of the few games where we've had genuine midfield control. That it was more through brute force than it was through finesse. So I think, just touching on what the lads have talked about, I think, I mean, Ryan's he's a beating heart of this club, Ryan. He's like, I feel like when I'm on the field, he's like, you know, he's one of us. He's come out the stand and said, right, I'll have a go, lads. And he gets out there, you know. And Cheku, I mean, like Mark said, when Cheku was signed, I kind of thought, I'm not sure about that. Is he really going to play that many games?
Everyone thought Dave.
You know,
everyone thought that.
But, you know, I tell you what, hey, about Cheku, right? Watch the match day passes. He's involved. He's a cheerleader, like Jesse is and like Hendo has been. You know, what I would say about our lads, it doesn't seem like there's any of them sort of sulking about not being in. They all join. I think the team spirit's good. They just had a bad day yesterday. It happens. It's life. You get it. You get an up where you hold the champions, right? You get a point off the champions that feels like a win, and then when you think you've got the whole thing pegged, along comes a really awful defeat. You know, but
yes, it's a good point, Dave. I think that game yesterday was the only game this season where take the Man City 6-0, Arsenal 5-0, United 3-0, Leicester game, that was just Cooper going, Cooper staying. That was just a freak game. The game yesterday, and Mark, was you at the game yesterday or did you watch on the TV?
I watched on the TV.
Did you know the boys up top, Ben and Dave, they wouldn't have seen this. To me, when they scored the third or fourth goal, it cut the sad figure for me. There was one of the goals, I think Rice's goal. Loddy
Brennan's walking around the back of the goal, Steve.
Was it Loddy or Brennan?
Yeah, Loddy had just been substituted, and Renan is walking behind the goal as the ball goes in the back of the net from Declan's shot.
Oh, sorry, Renan. I thought I said Brennan. Another one was they cut to the bench, and someone was down like this.
Yeah,
I don't know who it was. Cooper's face was just sad, and for me, it was quite a sad. Everyone just cut the sad figure. Everyone's feeling sorry for themselves. It just felt like they were on top of the world. They just won the World Cup. The crowd were going mental, which I thought West Ham fans were very poor. The atmosphere sounded terrible coming through the TV. I know you can blame the stadium, but it's funny because I spoke to my West Ham mate today, and I said to him, it almost felt like when they went 1-0 up, the West Ham fans were kind of gutted because they went. A lot of them went, "Why he's gone?" And he said, "You hit the nail on the head," because he said from the midday to the kickoff, all in the pubs, West Ham supporters going, "Moyes is gone today. If we lose, he's gone." Yeah. It was kind of like a sense of, "Oh no, we just won 4-0. He's kept his job," which is a really weird kind of sense of thinking. But that's the way football can be sometimes.
You know, Steve, in the stadium, it was all very, I don't know, it was an odd sort of atmosphere. I mean, I guess if you're in the middle of the Forest travelling contingent, which is loud, every stadium, if you're right in the middle of that however many thousand Forest fans, it's going to feel quiet in all the other parts of the stadium because the immediate area around you is really loud, right? But it was kind of, I think it was strange for the West Ham fans because, like you say, quite rightly, and Ben will know this from talking to Lawless this week and talked to quite a few West Ham fans. A lot of them, and they might have even said it to Ben on his vlog. Someone were coming up to us yesterday saying, "We really hope you win today because we want to get him out."
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, there was.
Yeah. Now, in a weird way, we might have done a whoopsie on West Ham in keeping him there.
Yeah, no.
You know, they've got to decide now whether yesterday is representative of David Moyes or what's gone before. So they are now back in this quandary, like, oh, not sure about our manager. Is he the man? Is he not the man? We know our guy. He's the right guy for us. He's a cracking good guy, right? And just because it was a bad day yesterday doesn't mean that everything Steve's done previously is invalidated. You know what I mean? So I think we as a club, even on bad days, we're at one. We like our guy. We're with our guy. Hell, and actually, I'll tell you what, Steve, you mentioned those defeats early in the season. So, yeah, City, we were outclassed. Arsenal, we were outclassed. I thought yesterday that it was the only game it was the game it was truly reminiscent of yesterday was Leicester away.
Yeah.
Right. And what I would say, in fact, actually, I would probably say yesterday was the worst of the season because if you think back to Leicester, before Leicester and particularly Maddison took over, Taiwo hit the post, you know, and if Taiwo's shot at the King Power goes in, then it's Brendan Rodgers that's getting it, right?
Yeah.
Yesterday, I mean, my hope yesterday, and I said this to Ben, and I said it on a couple of other things, was that we could get an early goal and then watch it fester.
Yeah,
and boil over and get right nasty. We in the
way. There won't be nasty. Like I know there's quite a lot of West Ham fans. There's things I want to say to West Ham fans. Do you want Moyes in? Yes or no? West Ham fans, there's quite a lot in there.
Yeah.
When I think last day, the 17th minute, like there's that small patch. I think it was between the 60th and the 17th minute, and Steve mentioned it. Fabianski went on the floor. That gap we were slowly doing, and I saw online with when we took off Johnson Serbi and we brought in Awani on. I firstly thought Cooper got it right at that point, get more people at the front, but at the same time, again we're playing that two in midfield.
Yeah,
playing that two in midfield.
I think the key issue to address, and Steve hinted at it in his post match with Colin Frey last night.
Yeah,
was this business of goal 1 to goal 4. goal 1 to goal 4 is a horror show, right? And however pessimistic or optimistic any of us are, thankfully, we've all got diverse views. We all think different things. And that's the beauty of life, that we all think different things, yet we're one big family as a football club, supporters, players, coaches, whatever. But I think what none of us can sugarcoat at all is from goal 1 to goal 4, because it was just cascade. And I mean, capitulation is a strong word to use, but it just felt like we were saying in the ground, half time, we're still in it. We're not playing at all well. It's a poor match, like Steve said, between two average teams, but we're still in it. And that was the case last week. Now, last week, it went differently to the way it did yesterday. But from goal 1, I mean, Ings scores. He's left all on his own in the box. The second goal, a little bit lucky, but it just felt like it was a cascade. And Forest, it just seemed to it was like an avalanche. Do you know what I mean? And Steve's right. I've seen the footage back of our lads looking. I mean, what you can't accuse our lads of is not caring, because you could see the pain in their faces.
That's what I mean. It just felt like it was so sad to see. Like, it just felt like men against boys, and boys going in themselves, being scared and just feeling sorry for themselves and want to get off the pitch. I just want to go back to Nottingham quicker than,
Yeah, and the thing is, you look at West Ham's squad, and like Declan walks in our team, Paquetá walks in our team, Jared walks in our team. We'd have Antonio. He came on and scored with his first touch, basically. So the truth of the matter is, the only reason that the West Ham Forest game yesterday meant as much is because actually West Ham United are massively underachieving. With that squad, they should be further up the league. They've been 6th and 7th, I think, the last 2 seasons. Really, West Ham United and us should be in different parishes, right? I mean, if somebody said to me, if we were all sat here, us four, and they said, right, Declan Rice is coming to Forest, we'd all be going, yes, come on. Because Declan, I think Declan's a world-class midfielder. And he's got
only one of his decent games this season, though, yesterday, wasn't it? West Ham fans haven't particularly been happy with his form this season, him and Bowen.
Well, Jared
turned it on yesterday.
That's absolutely right.
And West Ham, when you look at, I feel sorry for him a bit, because when you look at their fixtures in March, they've got European games, they've got a cup game to go,
City,
and that's going to take a bit of focus away from the league, and so hopefully that'll help us a bit as well.
The only threat we had yesterday, sorry Ben, and he made a tactical change half time, is Johnson was running at Johnson at left back, and I think did he pick up a yellow card? I think
he swapped him for Cresswell, Steve.
He swapped him for Cresswell, and Cresswell he looked a bit nervous. They said on commentary he's still not fully fit. He gave the ball away within the first 5 minutes he was on, and Johnson was the only outlet we had, and I think Johnson just didn't back him. It was one time he should have carried on straight. He cut in. He allowed what's the name? Obana, is it, or the centre to come across. Johnson should have carried on around him. Just little things. I think Johnson was the only outlet we had. I think that's why they were worried, and that's why he made that change. And Cresswell tightened up a bit then, and Johnson didn't have much freedom. But yeah, it's just I don't know. Yesterday was just like, there's no way West Ham should be 4 goals better than us. Sorry.
I was going through the comments as well, but we've got a West Ham fan who likes Dave. This is from Daniel. As a West Ham fan, you are spot on, Dave. That's brilliant. Bloody hell, there's quite a lot.
My pleasure, Danielle.
Daniel, he's single, so if you want to have a hook up with him,
singularly awful.
I should just say the West Ham. Sorry, West Ham fans watching. The guy who spoke today, West Ham fan, he said the trouble is they're in a predicament. With Moyes, he's probably the only guy around who can keep him up. Because if they get rid of him, who can they bring in to keep? So at the moment, I think they're just seeing this season through, and Moyes is gone.
Steve, actually, I'll come back on that, mate. Ben spoke to Lawless this week, and I've sort of listened in, and Lawless was saying that, like, if they get rid of Moyes now, what do they do? Do they bring some guy in just to see the ship through to the end of the season? And then how do they go? Do they get an up-and-comer in like Company or Carrick, or do they go elite? And obviously the name that he used, Lawless, is Pochettino. So from a management point of view, West Ham have got bigger dilemmas than we have. Do you know what I mean? It's a very good point, Steve.
Right, before we do, right, this guy has been hiding on here. Like, he's been absolutely against Steve Cooper, and he's back on here again. Peter, the Irish guy, I said it since October. Cooper out. So, Peter, I did send you a link one time, and you kept hiding. So now, because we lost 4-0, you're back on here. Peter, if you want to
I've been wondering where he's been hiding. I haven't seen
Peter,
him.
if you want to come on the show, Peter, and we'll talk about why the reason you want Steve Cooper out.
So Ben, so the one defeat yesterday is more important than all the good stuff that's come before that's got us to 13th. Yeah, well, I'd like to hear him answer that.
Right, Peter. I'm gonna give you. People in the comments, right? Do you want Peter, the Irish guy, to come on my show? We have a one. Wait. Let me twist it.
I think we should get Steve Cooper on with him as well, and Steve and him can have a conversation.
let me see it. Right. If there's any people that wants Steve Cooper out, I'm going to do a show. I'll do a show with any people that want Steve Cooper out of Forest. I'll get on the show and we'll have a debate. So people comment, if there's anyone out there, we'll have a talk and we'll have it. Like I said, I'm not saying get Steve Cooper in. Let's have a debate. I saw Peter Harris get to me and we'll have a little discussion. Why you want Steve Cooper out? Because I've not seen you since October. So it is what it is.
No. Forest have been winning.
Exactly. 150 people. If you can do a massive favor, please do hit the like button if you can. Right. Let me ask you, Mark. Like, we've not moved. We're still in 15th place. I saw like on social media, everyone having an opinion, and that's fine. Peter, we've not moved, and everyone's having a panic attack. Like, oh, Cooper out this was bad, but it's just a bad day in the office, wasn't it, Mark? That's all.
I think a lot of it's, we got a lift off the result against Man City, and people are thinking, oh, we're going to start shooting at the table now, winning a few games. But, we have to keep bringing ourselves back down to the ground and reminding ourselves, first time back in the Premier League for a long time, we're still finding our way, and even like Bournemouth and Fulham, who came up with us, like they've had some Premiership experience in the last 20 years, whereas we haven't. In Fulham, just for me, they've shown the way this season for us. But even when you look at them, they've not got brilliant form, but they're just doing a lot better than we are. And I think, I'll go back to what I was saying earlier in the stream. It's the away form we need to really, really concentrate on. Just make sure we get enough points from our home games to survive, and then we kick on next season and start planning for a long-term stay.
Steve, like I said, there's a lot of, like I said, we lost 4-0 to a better team yesterday. What players was you disappointed with yesterday's performance? And people in the comments, what players was you disappointing? I'm not going to say everyone, just mention 2 or 3 players that was disappointing yesterday. Steve?
Like you said, I think Wood again, the Wood debate, if Matthew's listening. He didn't earn his £400 million a week or whatever he's on now. Wood didn't do much. I thought Gibbs White did okay, but I thought he was below par. The midfield, other than I thought Shelby was one of the better players to try to get on the ball. I agree with, I think, what you said earlier, Ben, Colback, Freuler didn't do much. When they did have the ball, didn't do much with it. The wing backs, they did have a bit of a tough time. I thought they did okay. Nico Loddy didn't do. I know you could cherry pick some of the goals, but it's a team game. It starts from the front. If you dissect the first goal, Declan Rice didn't go long, or he didn't go for a sit. He went forward, and straight away that touchline and a cross and bang, goal. It starts from the front, and you got to defend from the front in football. And if your front line's not defending, you're up against it straight away. And again, in the Premier League, you're going to get hurt. And we're finding out the hard way. And like Dave said earlier, I'm finding in this league now, momentum changes, like Taiwo against Leicester, hitting the post. We are getting punished. We're getting punished worse and it's always been a Forest thing for me anyway. You see something happen and then, we hit the post or we miss a chance and the other team score. That's just been a Forest thing since I've supported them. It's even worse now. We haven't had Premier League football for 20 odd years, and we are finding out the hard way now that it punishes you.
Yeah.
I mean, the Championship, you can get away with it. In the Premier League, even like Fulham and Bournemouth will harm you. And, you give that ball away, loose pass on you. And we just got to keep that ball better.
Yeah.
I thought Worrell was a bit off. For me, Felipe was our best player.
Yeah, he was. He was
I love that guy. Yeah, with McKenna up now, I think Felipe, he's what I liked. There was a few moments in the game where he's just barging people and he just doesn't care. Get off me, bang, have it. Yeah, you could look at it. The momentum changer with Fabianski was his shin that knocked him in the back of the head, forced him off. But again, it's just little things. I don't know, the midfield. No, it's just an overall thing, Ben. Felipe, you could probably pick out as our best player, but again, he was just a 7, wasn't he? He wasn't an 8 or 9 or 10. Navas, people have picked him out for not going with his left hand. He went with his right hand for Rice's goal. When have us lot been goalkeepers at the top level? He's won everything. What have we got to say on Twitter? Oh, you should have done this. Well, you go and stand in front of Declan Rice and try and save a 30-yard shot, go to the top corner. It winds me up. Us as fans, we feel like we're football manager all the time, and give our opinions. But at the end of the day, this happens in football. If we're going to win every week, we'd be top of the league. We're not. You know what I mean? We've got to lose games, and it's just for me. The biggest thing I take out of it is just the way we just imploded, and that's just how we felt sorry. That was the only downside for me. And I've said this stream many times. As footballers, that's all I want to see is give 100%. And after that second goal went in, I just felt the boys just went, you know what, get us out to you. We've had enough. And to me, it was just like, bit of a damn squid then.
100%. People always do agree with or disagree with Steve, Dave, or Mark's comments. Please do get involved. Like I said, we're still 13th. Everyone, like I said, we lost 4-0. I think it's the way, like Steve mentioned it, the 2 goals in, I think it was 120 seconds. Just killed us off. Simple as that. But people even say if you do disagree and agree, put in the comment section as well. If you've got any comments, any comments that you want to ask us, please do. What are you about to say, Dave?
Yeah, unfortunately, whether you like it or not, demoralisation is a human emotion that sometimes you just can't get away from. We've all been there in our lives, whether it's football or something else, whether it's work or family stuff. We get demoralised, stuff happens. And people say, well, it's unforgivable. Well, try and stuff it yourself then, So yesterday was a day where, to me, none of them stood out. They were all a mulch of human beings and footballers. Not one of them stood out as being way worse than all the others. Not one of them stood out as being way better than all the others. I mean, if somebody said to me, pick your best player out, that I'd have abstained, because I don't think any of them had a good game. You know what I mean? It was just, we could obviously go on about, Chris Wood, he didn't play well, but then neither did anybody really.
Exactly.
It was just a kind of we were all, I don't know, it was just, I stood there the last 20 minutes, you know what my mouth's like, didn't know what to say, just sort of stood there and then, well, what can you do? You know what I mean? It was just, but I think it's all part of the process that we're having to go through. We didn't have it for 23 years or whatever. And the teams that are now becoming established in that, let's look at Fulham. Fulham came up, went straight back down, weren't even sighted, never even got to 13th, went back down, came back up. They've been up and down twice, you know what I mean? Brighton had to go through some early struggles to kind of become established. Brentford had real bad runs last year before the signing of Eriksen got them established, if you like. Leicester City, I think it might only be two seasons before Leicester City were the champions. They had a a season that was like even more hanging on grimly than ours is at the moment. You know what I mean?
Newcastle last season.
Newcastle last season, exactly. You know, and which John Joe will know about. So I think that while yesterday was bad, I mean, to me, 17th and finding 3 that are worse than us is the absolute fundamental. Absolutely fundamental.
Let me say something, right? Because we're 13th in the league. People in the comments. Let me ask you a question. Do you think Forest will get relegated? Let's keep it real, because like I said, we lost 4-0. But people in the comments, do you think Forest will get relegated, and what top threes will go down? Because I've seen again. I'm not going to give him so much coverage on there because he still hasn't agreed to come on my channel, so I'm not going to give him much coverage now on there.
No.
Where's that comment? Forest. Why do the panel think?
That's a good question.
Why do the panel think we should Paul away from City Ground? Let me ask you. Let me ask you, Mark, first, then we'll go through Stephen, Dave. Let me ask you, Mark.
I think, it goes back to what I was saying earlier. We're not the only ones. It's a fact of life. The bottom half of the Premier League table always struggle to get anything away, and that's why they're in the bottom half of the table.
Exactly.
So I don't think you can just look at it from a point of view of why Forest so poor away.
Right.
I think that comes off the back of, because we're doing so well at home since we went on our little run. People are expecting us to translate that into away form, and it just doesn't happen automatically in the Premier League.
Yeah. Let me ask you a question, right? Let me ask you, before I get to Stephen. Remember last season, I think it was Arsenal. They had the worst away record in the Premier League, but they had a fantastic home record.
Yeah.
They still stay safe. No one talks about Arsenal. It is what it is. Steve, what do you think is the reason? Like I said, people say that we just don't think about more defensive than Steve Cooper are. When it gets the centre minute mark, like you tried to yesterday, try and go forward. So what do you think is the reason behind it?
I think we're just too cagey away from home. I think we just set up to be solid and just take a point like we were at Brighton. It came off at Brighton. One of the few games we actually did set up, and it was a hard, all the boys were walking off like they were just, they've been through the trenches, absolutely drained, and they looked knackered in that game. But I think it's just the way we set up at home. Even though in the Premier League, teams will sit in. You don't play Man City every week. That's just a rare game. But teams like Everton, I think Everton will sit in on Sunday. They'll try and nick a goal from a set piece. They'll try and dice ball us, if that's the word. They'll try and nick a 1-0. Like I said, the only way Everton beating us on Sunday, they could outscore us. I can't see them outscoring us. So I think it's just the way we set up, Ben. I think, at home, we have a goal. We do rely a lot on the counter-attack. But away from home, I just think maybe we're a bit, I know we've had some thumpings, but maybe it's just a bit too cagey. Maybe just have a go, back ourselves. We got some good players. We have got some very good players who can hurt teams. It just seems a bit like, I don't know about some of the players, a bit starstruck, playing these big stadiums and playing against these world-class players.
Our starstruck, Steve. Our starstruck going to the ground, weren't we, Dave? We starstruck just looking at the ground.
Yeah.
I've never been in an Olympic stadium before. You know what I mean? It was quite impressive architecturally.
You take the Corvo squad, right? Now, yes, you can take out the players who played in the Premier League before, and this is why I pick out players like Kouate, and they've been there and done it. I have this sense when he's on the pitch, just pick Kouate when he was fit. You can tell he's played in the Premier League. But when you see the likes of Yates, Worrell, Toffolo, maybe Nico as well, because he didn't play a lot for Liverpool. He played for Fulham in the Championship. Toffolo, like you said. These players, I feel they do seem a bit like, we're in the Premier League now. Back yourself. Be a bit more, I don't know, it's just, Ben, I think it's just, maybe it's just that as well. It's just, at the moment, we're a bit of a mismatch. We need to aim to be like Fulham are now. I'm not saying go up and down, but where Fulham are now, they spent millions and it didn't work out. We've done the same, but hopefully it'll work out. Where we need to be in 3 or 4 years' time is where we've got a core of a squad that's established in the Premier League, and we have done a Fulham and just signed world-class players like Willian just to insert into the team to add that stardust. Because you boys at the Fulham game and you said Willian was just some different gravy that day.
Yeah, but so was Harrison Reid.
Harrison Reid.
And Bobby Decordova-Reid. You know, these. So
then,
in a way, Steve,
sorry, Dave, just quick one. But they could be our Yates and they could be our Worrell in years to come. You know what I mean? Because they are championship players. They've come from the championship. Reid came from. Oh, then again, he came from Southampton, didn't he? I think.
But look how another player that you've not mentioned about Fulham. How was it? What's the Ream? Ream. He's
Tim Ream. We were all writing him off last year.
Exactly. Look at him.
You know, the left back, the American left back, is from Wigan.
Yeah, Anthony Robinson.
You know, and so Tete. These players, they're not, you know, household names, but they're established now, and Fulham now could be there for a while in the Premier League.
Exactly.
I'm just hoping that it'll come off and we can be where Fulham are in a couple of years, fighting for top 8 or top 7.
Steve, that's exactly right. There's a little cluster of teams. There are 3 teams that I think, pound for pound, are fantastic, right? Brighton, Brentford, Fulham. They are. I don't think we can ever be like them. I think their models might be different to ours.
Brentford got their scout into a T.
Yeah,
they sell
amazing,
someone and they bring someone in.
There's somebody in those 3 clubs who can pick a footballer, right? I mean, Brighton's recruitment is phenomenal. You know, Matoma has been one of the success stories of the season. Like, who found him? You know, so I do think we can get there. I mean, with regard to this business of away from home, I think that the trouble for Forest is the start of the season and certain games burnt us really badly. And you know, I think it got to me, the watershed in the early part of the season was Leicester away, and it was so awful that it had to be a line in the sand. And then what happened? You know, we'd played so open. We'd shipped 6 against City. We'd played really open against Tottenham and got beat. When actually we kind of deserved something. I thought we deserved more from Tottenham losing 2-0 than we did from West Ham winning 1-0. Really,
we played well against them.
You know. And then we had those 2 games, I think, which were really painful, which was we were 2 up on Bournemouth and lost. We were leading against Fulham and lost, and we were open. And we were playing then as we had done in the Championship, which had been appropriate in the Championship, but it's not appropriate in a league that is a golfing class above. And then what you find is then you go to the next game after Leicester, which is Villa, and it was as tight as hell, 1-1. And then from that point, Forest take out Arsenal, because Arsenal were brilliant that day, and you just have to say the opposition were better than us, and they're league leaders for a reason, right? Take out, you know, so Forest has become hard to beat. And it's almost like now, Forest are like, do we stick or do we twist? Do we keep it tight and try and ground them out, or do we like express ourselves more? And I don't think Forest are entirely comfortable. This is just me. And people can disagree with me. That's the beauty of the world. It might be almost that Forest are not quite sure which of the 2 they want to be, and they're still finding their way. Now, Fulham have found the way they want to be. Brentford have found the way they want to be. Brighton and Hove Albion have found the way they want to. Crystal Palace in their way. I mean, Palace have hung around this division for a long time. They're another that we can look at as a role model, you know. And I just think, away from home, I just think, I'd love to sit down with Steve and say, you know, when you go away from home, Steve, do you think sometimes you just want to be like a punk band and chuck the kitchen sink at everything? Or do you want to keep it nice and tight and like look for an opening here and there? Do you know what I mean? And I think Steve himself would say, you know, sometimes I'm not quite sure, you know what I mean? So I just think it's part of Forest learning. Mark's dead right. We've not been in this. We were the last into this division. We had less time to prepare than anybody. We lost most of our team through just circumstances, and you know, if we can finish 17th or above, I actually think our manager has to be a candidate for manager of the year. 30 new signings over 2 windows, right?
Look at for the last 2 years, he's done for the club. For the last 2 years,
we were bottom of the Championship a year ago. So anybody who wants him out, right? If anybody wants him out, would like to take me back to Stoke City away or Derby County.
Dave White.
They
Dave,
are welcome
Dave,
to transport me back to that.
No, Dave, listen to me right. Listen to me right. Dave, we were mates.
Well, these people who want Cooper out
Dave,
don't obviously want what we've got now. I tell you what, the Cooper out lot are the ones who, oh heck, Forest won again. I can't have a go at Cooper. But when Forest get beat, yes, Forest got beat, so I can have a go at Cooper. Now, to me, if I'm celebrating my team getting beat, I'm not a supporter. I don't want my team to get beat. I love my club. And I love I tell you what, I love our manager, I love our coaching staff. Our lads, whether they have a good day or a bad day, are a good bunch of young men who are a credit to our club, right? The Yateses and the Worrells and whatever.
Where's Dave? A few people when Forest lose, they're more happy than that. So
Ben, they are perfectly entitled. Let me get this across. Everybody is entitled to their opinion, and I, will agree to differ with them. But it's almost like people are lying in wait. Right, I can have a go at Cooper now. Right, I can have a go at that player. Right, I can have a go at Joe Worrell.
I think it's a black and white thing. I think what we got now, right, is when we lose. I agree with you. It's almost like these people jump on Cooper. He gets his tactics wrong, gets his subs wrong. We got When we win, it seems like Cooper can't do no wrong. We all love him, which I love Cooper anyway. And like you said, all these people go in their shell then, and we're all like, yes. I feel at the moment we either get it right or we get it wrong. There's no middle ground. We're on top of the world, beating Liverpool. Yeah. And then we go and get thumped by Arsenal. Cooper's the worst manager in the world. And then we beat Leicester at home. Cooper is Messiah. And then we lose to West Ham. Cooper can't do no right. Yeah, we literally black and white as fans. There's no middle ground. And like I said right at the beginning of the video, if you had said we would have lost 4-0 to West Ham and drew to Man City, I would have gone, can you swap that? You would, right? Here's a weird way of thinking. Would you have taken losing to Man City last week at 4-0 at home? Because you would have come up like we all said before. Look at the team.
Yes.
I said, and then you would have said, "Oh, we'll take 4-0 today because next week we'll draw West Ham away. The next day we'll do Man City, and then we go and get thumped by West Ham."
Exactly.
It's a great point, Steve. Steve, the point is, if we'd have lost to Man City 4-0, like Bournemouth are doing right now, I watched Back of the Net, the Bournemouth podcast, and they're all going, well, it's Manchester City. If we'd have lost last week, we'd have probably done the same. But then if somebody said, like Ben was asking for score predictions yesterday, and some people, a hell of a lot of people, vast majority said 1-1. And I think, if you, like you say, if you swap it round, we would have taken the point at West Ham and said, "Oh well, it was Manchester City. We've got it out of the way now." Do you know what I mean? Where I get irritated a little bit, Steve, and Mark knows the game. Mark would agree with me, I'm sure. Where people are getting ahead of themselves. Like I was on a podcast last week, they were talking about the relegation battle, and I said I support Nottingham Forest, but I don't think we're free of the relegation battle. We are still in it. And until mathematically we cannot go down, we are still in it. And I actually think our coach, who keeps everybody's feet on the ground, never gets ahead of himself. He will be saying to him, once he's kind of picked the bones out of that bad defeat yesterday, and some home truths I think will be said in Steve's way. Because you could tell how when he comes out and says unacceptable, I don't think I've heard him use that word before. And he was seriously not very happy yesterday, and there'll be some home truths, right? Steve Cooper will say to them, you have work to do. You are not mathematically safe. People can talk about we need 36, 38, 40, whatever. But until it's mathematically, I think Forest will be in a relegation battle until they're not.
Yes.
One way or the other.
Yeah, 100%. Spot on, people. But before we do go, like I said, we're 13th. We've not moved. So people chill out. Like I said, it is what it is. We're in the Premier League.
Listen to Sonic Youth.
And David listens to his rock music. I ain't got a clue what music it is. So Steve and Mark might know what music, but I ain't got a clue. But people in the comments, right, before we do go, like I said, people I see the comments going this, Cooper that. People love him, people hate him. There's too much comments. Are we going down? Are we going down, people? There's going to be, like I said, there's going to be ups and downs. We've got tough away games like Spurs, Liverpool, Aston Villa. Who else I mentioned? There's a few clubs there. People, are we going down? Yes or no? Let me ask you, Mark. Are we going down?
No,
With the squad that we've got now, not with the people in injuries, the squad we've got now, are we going down? The squad we've got now. People in the comments, what do you think?
I think you've got to remember we've got 2/3 of our squad out injured at the moment. 30 signings, we've got a third of that on the injury table. But no, I mean, the only point I was ever close to thinking we might go down was after the Leicester game. But you know, I've stuck to my guns, and I said it before the start of the season, and I'm still resolute with it. 13th, and I said that before the start of the season. That's where we are, and I think we'll struggle to get much higher. But I can't really see us dropping much lower at the moment, because you know I appreciate we've got some tough games to come, but so's everyone else around us and below us.
100%. Steve, what do you think?
No, there's 3 worse teams in this league than us. I think that's Everton, Bournemouth, and Southampton. I think Bournemouth are gone. I think Bournemouth are flattered to deceive. I think their owner is deluded. The things I've heard, he wants them in top 8 in 2 years or 3 years, whatever it is, in the Premier League. I think they are down. Southampton are in turmoil. I don't think that guy will keep them up wherever they've installed. Yeah, they've already got Ward-Prowse. He can't carry them for the rest of the season. And I think Everton, I didn't realise how bad a running they had until I looked, and that is pretty bad. I think the only thing with Everton is that Sean Dyche factor. You know, and the Sunday, actually, I'm more nervous about this game on Sunday than I am in the last 2 games, because this game is such a must-win. We can't fall into their game plan. We've just got to play our game. And like Dave said earlier, I think if we play our game, we'll beat them comfortably, I think, and have a rebound. Cooper will wind them up all week. Hopefully now Everton will take a bit of a battering at Arsenal as well, knock their confidence a little bit more. Hopefully Arsenal can dent their goal difference a bit more. I think the other team, I think Leeds as well. I think Leeds is still, I'm not sure about them. They still play with no structure. They're headless chickens. They don't seem to have any game plan. They're just relying on their energy to get them through. I think Wolves will be all right. I was quite impressed with them on Friday against Fulham.
Oh, yeah. First hour.
Yeah. Now, the only team I would say I've maybe got to be a little bit careful is Leicester, because unless they get Maddison back, I think Leicester maybe they've got to be careful, mind Leicester. They can't take their eye off the ball. And who else is down there? Can't think now. West Ham be fine. West Ham be fine. Moyes will save his job, and he'll be gone in the summer, like I said earlier. But I think the 3 I think it's between 3 or 4.
Southampton, Bournemouth, Everton, Leeds, West Ham, Wolves, Leicester, and say Palace.
I think Palace got good attacking players, and their home form will, like us, will keep them up. But I think and I think we'll get another away win somewhere. I think we'll nick somewhere without making from out of the blue. Maybe like a Chelsea or something like that, or Villa. You know, Villa are not consistent. Villa are just comfortable mid-table. So yeah, I think we're going to be. I said 14th or 15th. I'm going for 15th.
Last but not least, Dave, what's your opinion on anything before we go?
Well, the thing that sustains me at the moment is that there are 7 teams below us. So while we're all sitting here thinking, well, we've got problems, surely they've got the same problems. I agree with Steve, and this is no disrespect to the supporters of those clubs if they're watching in, but I just think Southampton don't have enough quality to stay up, and the guy that they're giving the job to, I think Senez or whatever.
Senez, yeah, something like that.
I would not be swapping him for Steve Cooper. You know, I would keep Coops instead of him. Gary O'Neill at Bournemouth, I'm not sure Gary's got the force of personality to keep them up, and I'd rather have Cooper than him. Everton, I actually think Everton, to me, of all the teams in that bottom 8, Everton are the ones to me who look destined to go. They, to me, look destined to go through what we went through for a long time. Leeds went through, Leicester went through, Derby are going through, Sheffield Wednesday are going through. You know, big clubs that, you know, Everton have never been relegated from the top flight. And I think it's going to happen. And I look at their squad and like, boy, do they miss Calvert-Lewin. You know, if you took, and like when Seamus Coleman is like their goal threat as he was against Leeds last week, and that was only scored because Meslier had come off his line. I'd be worried about it. I think that it's between West Ham. Steve's dead right. West Ham fine. West Ham got too much quality. Wolves Wolves were really good for an hour at Fulham the other night. Compare Wolves' first hour to our first hour at Fulham, and there was like no comparison. They were way above us. I think our bottoms are going to be squeaky. I'll tell you that. We're not out of the woods yet, but I think we might just do it, and I think we might just do it off the back of the fantastic atmosphere in the City ground. And why I think it'll be Everton, that will join the two South Coast clubs is that I think Ellen Road will keep Leeds up, because Ellen Road, I tell you what,
They've got great fan base. They've got a great fan base.
They've got an amazing. They can create amazing noise in that ground. And like the thing is, I think they're the most frenzied club in the whole league. Right, their team playing a frenzied way. It's 100 miles an hour, you know, with a little bit of Patrick Bamford. Their fans are like berserk. You know, I watch Leeds YouTube channels and they're hilarious because they're just full on all the time. So I think Leeds is sort of desire and commitment to the cause will keep them up. But I think it'll be the two South Coast clubs, because I think Southampton are just they haven't got, you know, you take Ward-Prowse out and they're gone already. James might just drag them in because he's such a good player and he'll get them free kicks and stuff. Bournemouth have got some good players. Don't get me wrong. They've got some, you know, Solanke's a talented lad, Billings a talented lad, but I just think, you know, Gary O'Neill's not the guy. If Eddie Howe was in charge of Bournemouth, I'd say, I fancy Bournemouth to get out of it. But Gary O'Neill doesn't inspire me with any confidence. And I just think Everton are going to have something historic happen to them, which in the context of their club is relegation, because they've never had it. And I just see a time where Liverpool are in the Premier League and Everton are in the Championship. You know, and to me, they're building a new stadium. And the irony could be that fantastic new stadium is built down on the docks in Merseyside, and Everton start it or play their first game, and it's somebody like, I don't know, Luton or Sheffield Wednesday or Ipswich or something like that, you know. Okay. So I do think it's more the three clubs worse than us being like super duper and brilliant and forging away. But we are going to be in it. You know, and what we have to get away from is like Steve's dead right. We have to get away from being we've just taken a point off the champions, so we're fantastic. We can be proud, but we have to keep a realistic view on it. But at the same time, you know, we've got other games that there are 14 games to play. There are 42 points available. Are people saying we're not going to get any of them? Because if I tell you what, if Steve and the players thought that, well, we might as well all just go home. You know, so I think that, I mean, these next three games, I think we'll beat Everton, but it'll be tight and it'll be nervy. I don't think we'll win at Tottenham. I think Tottenham will be too good for us. They're a level above us, like United are, like Arsenal are, like City are, you know. Actually, we got a point off City. We beat Liverpool, you know what I mean? So exactly. The thing is, we probably can't predict it accurately. You know, we might say, oh, you know, like Steve said, we might say we'll beat Everton and lose to Tottenham, and then we go and lose to Everton, then we go to Tottenham and win 3-0. I mean, and that's just life. Do you know what I mean? Right, it's just berserk.
Exactly. Right, Dave, before I don't want to end this showing us sour, but Silverware, this is the most daftest comment I've seen. If this was Hooton, he was whipping into tactics, what Cooper can do no wrong with you, lot.
Cooper took us to the Premier League after 23 years. What more do you want? Do you want to still be in the Championship? Cooper, I tell you what Cooper's done.
No, wait, right, you know what?
Right. The Premier League, he took us to a Carabao semi-final, which none of us could have seen come in. And we're 13th, which is higher than I ever thought we'd be in this division.
Right. Silverware and Peter, come on my show. Get on my show. I want you to come on my show. Please come on my show because I don't get your logic with, like I said,
Ben, do you see my reaction? Like,
I just don't. What's because Chris Hooton, we were bottom of the the Championship. And then it's saying about
Chris Hooton can get tactics right against Middlesbrough at home in the Championship. Come on, seriously,
Chris Hooton. Chris Hooton, it was just a plateau with no progression. I'm saying to you that bottom of the Championship to 13 in the Premier League with a Carabao semi-final thrown in is evidence of progress, right? So Steve's achieved all this and the way to reward him is to chuck him out. No way.
I give
Not
up.
enough.
I honestly think some of these people watching, or fans, they've just been watching Forest for the last 2 years.
Yeah.
Only about 10 years ago, we were just sitting in the middle of the championship, going nowhere.
We
Yeah.
almost got relegated to League One.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we
Yeah.
all.
Do they want to go back? Do they want to?
3-0? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Oldham,
Do they want to go back
away.
to? Do they want to go back to having to beat Ipswich on the last day of the season
Oh.
and Jordan Smith saving us? Do that what they want to go back to? Because I'm telling you, I tell you what,
We just
those
signed
people.
Navas.
If Brian Clough was looking down, Brian Clough. If you said to Brian Clough up there now, Gaffer, what do you think of Steve Cooper? Ask Cloughie what he would think of Steve Cooper, because Cloughie would be right with Steve Cooper. I'm telling you. So if they think they know better than Cloughie, then fine.
Right, before we do on, some guys piping up called Do Daily, Duck Cooper in, sort out. Hey! People comments. You people miss Dave, miss Des. Get in the comments because get him.
Get him on.
Get him on. We'll get Dave. We need to get the legend.
They should rename it Desperate for Des.
People comment. Who misses Des? We need to get Des on. You know what? We're gonna do Des. Des, if you want to sort out silverware and Paddy Irish, Des will sort them out. People in the comments, we miss Des. We miss Des. Right, we're gonna get going, people. It's been a great show. It's been a great show anyway. We don't care. We're 13th year old. I'm a happy clapper. I'm a flip flop. I'm a flip flop, everyone.
You like the Leicester fans when things.
I'm a happy clapper.
Clappers.
Mark knows why we're smirking, because he knows what it is, don't you, Mark? But don't mention it. Right, people, it's been a great show. Dave, Steve, and Mark, thank you for taking your time to come on this channel as well, people.
Pleasure, lads.
As well, I'll be dialing with Des. I don't know. He's had a little break. Des is. He's had a little break, so I don't know where.
Stan sitting in for him tomorrow night instead. It's dialing with Stan, isn't it? I think the dog's doing it.
Dialing with Stan. Well, people, like I said, if you want Des on, people, we can do. If you want in the comments section, say bring back Des. If we get at least 25 people, at least in the comment section, bring back Des. He's coming back on. Des, you are watching. Bring back Des. People, like I said, I'll be back on Friday night doing the Everton preview with Everton fan. And as well, people, you got to. Chris Bott Williams is coming back to Nottingham. He's coming back to Nottingham. I'm so looking forward to this as well. So please go and get your tickets as well. If you can, message it's William and Gunn. It's near the City Ground. That's where it's been hosted. So if you want to get your tickets, it's going to be a crazy show. And I'm excited. There's another idol that I looked up to with Kevin Campbell and the rest of the lot. Ian Woan as well. So Chris Bob Williams is coming back.
Just idle.
Just idle. But I said, people, like I said, thank you for everyone. Like I said, thank you, Dave. Thank you, Mark. Thank you, Steve. People, we're 13th. Don't be depressed. Be happy. See you soon. Up the Forest.